Hello everyone and welcome to Ukulele Underground Podcast. My name is Aldrine Guerrero, joined by Mr. Aaron the Voice Nakamura. Say what's up, Aaron?
What's up?
And Mr. Kahai the Legend Fergan. Say what's up, Kahai? So, before we move on, I was just talking about this. Before people on the, watching the video fixate on oh man, what is that an Aldrine shirt? I just came from the restroom and I have...
Sweaty.
Yeah, I just washed my hands. And a couple drops of water, I guess, went on my shirt. And the thing is, I get emails that oh man, where does Aldrine get his shirts and stuff? So sometimes I'm I just kind of want to wear a plain blue, purple, whatever this color. I'm slightly colorblind, purple shirt. I'm just but the thing with these plain shirts is that it's so thin that if any little water goes on it, it'll show, especially on camera. So before people fixate on it and stuff, it'll probably disappear soon as as it goes, or it'll get worse because I'm just gonna get sweatier and sweatier because
and it doesn't matter at all to the podcast.
Yeah, to the podcast. That's why it's only for the people who are watching on video, because especially when we do the close up like this, how Kahai has it right now, it's pretty noticeable on camera. So people are oh man, what's that on the shirt? Was he eating Subway again? For those Aloha Friday Live Jam viewers over there, yeah, it's totally not sweet onion sauce from Subway. It's just water. It'll disappear soon.
Sorry, hopefully. There's try to keep going because there's something weird with this camera going on.
Oh, I see. Oh, it's okay. So, It's just us three, gentlemen. We've had lots of things happen in the past few weeks and stuff that we were okay, we're gonna have Craig and Sarah. Then we didn't have Craig and Sarah. Then we had Craig and Sarah. Then I think today we were gonna have Magic Mike come in, but actually we're gonna have Magic Mike come in next week. So I just saw him, and speaking of which, since we have the close-up camera, he just gave me a very, 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 very late birthday present because he told me that he was gonna give this to me last year, or he was working on it since last year. Here it is. This Yamaha box.
What could it be?
What could it be? So, I opened it earlier, and man, Mike has been reading my my Hello Kitty dream journal of wish lists because, hot dang, it is a clarinet. Nice. So Mike works at a music store, so we talked about that before and stuff. And last year, I guess, or the year that he the other music store closed that he was working for, somebody came in, some lady came in and said oh, my son or daughter or whatever, my kid played this for the band, and I don't know, he doesn't play it anymore, so he's just here. So they just gave it to him. I guess it was a little broken, so Mike fixed it up and stuff, and he gave it to me as a present. So I'm right on. So Mike's okay, I'm gonna give this to you, but I need to see it on Thursday. I'm gonna watch Thursday's podcast, and I'm gonna need to see you at least playing it. So right on. He gave me some reeds. He gave me a 2.5 Rico or Juno reed. And I was yeah, that's probably right, because I don't think I can handle the 5-6 reeds that I used to, Van Doren that I used to play, because it's not the same anymore. So this clarinet on the ground, I guess.
Amateur.
Yeah, I know, amateur reeds right now.
All your.
But yeah, he recorked it and stuff, and he really fixed it up. He said he sanded some of the stuff so you can see a little bit, of scuffs and whatnot. Just make sure that it's nice and clean, and took out all the, all the keys and wiped them down and stuff and disinfected everything. I'm right on, Mike. So thank you so much, Mike. Magic Mike. So you'll see this in a video very soon. I'm just now I was thinking of it in the car. I'm okay, I'm gonna do this cover, I'm gonna do that cover, and the first thing that came to mind is I was I want to cover Ehu Girl, because Ehu Girl has that saxophone part and stuff. I can play it on clarinet. And then I was listening in the car on the way here. I'm ain't no way I'm gonna play a bass line. So, unless I get kaniho, the actual kaniho, not pretend kaniho that I've had, So maybe I'll get him, and maybe we'll do a cover of Ehu Girl with this clarinet. But if anything, there's tons of ska stuff that I could play with these clarinets. So for those of you folks who don't know, I played clarinet throughout pretty much all of high school and most of college. I was a first chair clarinet. I'm saying that, but it's not going to reflect on how I play it today because it's been like almost 2 decades. I think last time I played was 2004. But this was my gateway to learning how to read and write music and things like that. This is something that I used. And while playing this instrument, to bring it back to Ukulele Underground, this was the instrument because I was learning how to read and write music. I'm like, well, like ukulele is an instrument, right? Like I could maybe do the things that I was learning on the Essential Elements book for clarinet and did it on my ukulele. And I'm like, well, okay, I'm like making music, like, quote unquote, making music. So that's how I started to like, okay, well, let me play a scale. And I was like doing my major scales. So nobody like forced me to do any of that stuff where like, if you want to get better at the ukulele, maybe you should, learn music theory and scales. I'm just like, well, I have this book. Maybe I should like use that book because other than like, Treasury of Ukulele Chords by Roy Sukuma, there really wasn't too much ukulele books out there. And I don't know, I was like a
pre-jumping gym.
Yeah, I was gonna say that like I was, I'm too much of like a local kid to like go pick up like a jumping gym book, and there's like kind of this the stigma about it. They're like, jumping gym, you can't show up at the beach with your jumping gym books, and they're like, what is?
Or even Lyle Ritz.
Yeah, or even Lyle Ritz, even though those books are great, you know what I mean? Like, so going to the music store and buying one of those, and people like kind of knew me as a uke player at that point, or just that I played uke, not like I was, like performer or whatever. But yeah, so here you go, Mike, just for you. I don't even know what to play. I'll play a scale. I guess I'm talking about scales. No, I'm just joking. just joking. Okay. Now, okay. I don't want to do that again. Yeah, there you go, Mike. C scale just for you. But thank you so much. I'm gonna relearn it. I just got it. Like I just came from the music store and grabbed it from Mike. So I'm gonna spend some time. I'm gonna relearn stuff. This might need a little bit of recorking because it's a little loose and stuff. But it's awesome. I'm super stoked about this. And for my Oversoul project, I want to be using this. It's gonna be awesome. I've been using like a kalimba, like some pretty cool like random instruments. So this is next in my list. Kahai, did you play for the band?
Yeah, I play trumpet.
Yeah, trumpet. That's right. I'm stoked. And it's like a Yamaha, just like how I had. But I had like an even lower model than this.
More student.
Yeah, more student model. And I used that throughout all of high school and college, and I was like in competitions and stuff, and I was using, it's kind of like the equivalent of like performing, because we performed at the Polynesian Cultural Center over on Oahu, and we were competing at a national level. So that's kind of like playing a soprano like $100 kala at like a gig.
Carnegie Hall.
Carnegie Hall. Yeah, I guess like Carnegie Hall. So it's I made do. So I've always believed that like, what is that one saying about the painter, like if a real like painter can paint anything with any brush or something like that, like no matter what brush he uses. It's not like I have this whatever super fine tip thing that I can do these things. Like a real artist can make stuff out of that. So as a first chair second clarinet player for Kauai High School, I represented with my $300 Yamaha. That's like a super entry model back in like must have been 1997. That's when I first played clarinet. Kahai, were you alive in 97?
Yeah.
You were what?
I was
X years old. Yeah, let's just go with that. He was X years old.
It was single digits.
He was single digits in 97.
No,
lower end of the single digits or higher end of the single digits?
I was the ripe old age of 4.
Right on. So there you go, Mike. Thank you so much for the present. We'll talk about it next week. I'm gonna work on it, this entire week and see what happens. All right. So this is Ukulele Underground podcast where we talk about ukuleles, so let's start talking about ukuleles instead of clarinets, right?
Clarinet Underground.
Clarinet Underground. I tried to make that as short and sweet as possible so that we can move on to all the ukulele goodness. And I tried to tie in some ukulele in there because honestly, that is like what I did. There was a lot of cool like essential element songs that that I wanted to put into the ukulele. Competition wise, when we did like competition music, we did cowboys, and that was something that I really wanted to do, and that actually inspired me to do the Bandito Tyler album because that that cowboys album. And if for those of you folks wondering, cowboys, there's a movie like I want to say 50s, 60s. Called The Cowboys, and that was the I think John Williams did the score to that, and that music was just so good. It was so good, and that kind of sparked Bandito Tyler. So if you listen to that album or that soundtrack for the Cowboys, you're really like, oh yeah, I now understand where Aldrine took all that stuff for Bandito Tyler from. It's from that soundtrack. So. Anyways, gang, so what we're going to do is we're going to answer any and all of your questions, however we may get it, via email, via phone call, via text, via, hey, Aldrine, can I ask you a question? Whatever it may be, I'll answer it to my best ability, and these two guys are going to come in with their 2 cents. We'll try to come up with the best answer possible that the three of us can come up with. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's like, that was all right, but we're going to try our best, right, Kahai? Mm-hmm. So, Kahai, give me the first question, bud.
Skip asked, or he said, I know everything is subjective, but what are your choices for the best tonal wood combinations for top, back, and sides of a tenor uke?
Yeah, this right here. Honestly, so I do have my favorites. Okay, I've always wanted one like this, which is a Sitka spruce top with Brazilian rosewood back and sides. It doesn't have to be Brazilian. You can get Indian, East Indian rosewood is readily available nowadays, and it's pretty similar. Like a lot of people swear by the Brazilian rosewood, but East Indian sounds pretty similar. You don't have to. Yeah, it's comparable. Like
and not expensive.
Not expensive or not illegal.
Illegal or expensive.
Yeah.
You know how people come to Hawaii and they buy koa, and they buy like a koa bowl or koa thing, and they go home and they're like, this is a real koa from Hawaii. But then if you really look at it, or if you look into it, it's like, what is it, like
acacia?
Yeah, from Asia or something. Yeah, I heard the same thing with Brazilian rosewood. That it's like a lot of it, like people call Brazilian rosewood, but it's not from it's like
unless you have the certificate.
Yeah. And you can tell in some cases, you can tell like just by the the hue of like of the wood. But then again, like each tree is gonna be different. There might be like a super dark tree that's like, oh yeah, that's Brazilian, but it's actually East Indian. So. But the reason why I like that combination is because Sitka spruce is known to be a pretty bright top for musical instruments, okay, like guitars and stuff. So I like that kind of brightness, but balanced with a dark back and sides, which is the Brazilian rosewood. A lot of people will say that the back and sides don't really matter because they've done a like that study where they use paper mache like as a back and sides and kept a nice tone wood at the top, and it still worked. It's all good, but it doesn't mean that that the back and sides don't lend any kind of properties to the combination. You can definitely use like paper mache and it'll sound okay, but with the choice of back and sides, it'll kind of make the sound towards what you wanted. So I wanted a dark sounding wood to balance out the brightness of the spruce top. I also like all koa. I mean, it's what I use my entire career as far as playing ukulele. This is kind of my first few months playing with a spruce top ukulele, but I guess there was a little stunt in my career where I used spruce, which is the applause ukulele. So I've used that, but that's kind of like a graphite back. And so what do they use that? What do you use for the back and sides for the applause?
I'm not sure.
Some kind of it's that applause ovation kind of back. But let's see. I was talking about koa. All koa ukuleles are great, as long as the neck is not made out of koa, as long as the neck is made out of mahogany or something else, really rosewood,
a harder,
yeah,
or
harder
stiffer
wood.
wood.
So that's why when Kahai brought up like bows and stuff that that is made out of koa, I'm kind of like, ooh, I don't know. That's kind of like a pretty bendy wood. Like koa is good because it's it bends easily, and you want something that's kind of a softer wood for the top and a harder wood for the back and sides. And koa is not as soft as Sitka. It's a little bit stronger, but not as hard. Excuse me, not as hard as like say like rosewood or ebony or things like that. And it's really good. A good balance between bright and on the dark side, depending on what cut of koa that you get is going to be the properties of sound that your ukulele is going to produce. I've had koa ukuleles that were not as bright. I've had some that were only bright, that was like annoyingly bright. And also depends how you brace it inside, but combinations, all koa is always gorgeous. Like I love the look of koa ukuleles, because you just can't beat that, like kind of ranging from like anywhere from brown to like bright orange is just beautiful. And then they have like the curls that go with it, or the like sapwood. Like when you put all that stuff into consideration, you got some beautiful instruments made out of koa. So it doesn't just sound nice, but also looks nice. But those two, honestly, I like redwood also, but then to pair up redwood, you would have to kind of experiment a little bit with the back and sides. I would pair it with something like rosewood also with a redwood top. You could do that. I've had koa back and sides for the redwood. That sounds pretty good. The Bridgewood ukulele that I have is koa back and sides with the redwood on top. But my favorites, spruce, rosewood, and all koa. Those are my top two. Kai, what about you? I know you buy guitars and stuff, and ukuleles and whatnot.
That's. Again, like even kind of if this person is thinking like, oh, whatever they say, I'm gonna go and look for that particular like combination of woods or whatever. And I feel like I don't go into a music shop looking for a particular like set of woods or something. I just kind of, it's like more instrument to instrument.
Yeah, that's true.
Like how they make it, I think will have more of an effect on the overall sound than like the combination of woods. Yeah. And that's why you can have two ukuleles or two instruments with the same combination of woods that sound completely different from each other, right? So it's not a guarantee, but like you said, like
if it's if the sound doesn't matter, it's just like what you like. It is subjective, so subjective aside, what's your favorite?
Yeah, and I think like you said, it's I like a spruce top or like a softer wood top, and then like I have a redwood guitar, so I like that sound, and it's I don't know. I also like kind of like all different types of woods, and I like them for different things, right? Like I might be like, oh, this is my ukulele that I really like because it's super bright, or this one is like pretty dark. So
there's lots of woods to choose from, and there's definitely lots of great combinations of different tone woods. But I don't know, I'm pretty basic. Like I like like tried and true sounds. Not that I don't like all the other stuff. I do, and I have ukuleles that have different combinations, and I've played ukuleles with different combinations and thought they were beautiful and sounds beautiful as well. But for me, like, I mean, this is my first fancy ukulele. My other ukuleles have been super like uniform and just like the ebony like what was binding. I didn't have all the sparkles until this particular ukulele, so I kind of like to keep it basic. But I've seen some great sounding and great looking like mango ukuleles or guitars even. I've seen some cool like bear claw spruce, like that's pretty cool, like Adirondack as opposed to Sitka. So this is Sitka spruce, is also Adirondack. There's bear claw spruce. There's I don't know, there what's the one from Oregon that Maya Moe uses? There's that one particular wood that they use.
Yeah. I'm not sure.
Oh, Myrtle.
Myrtle,
Is that
yeah,
what you're
Myrtle
talking
sounds and looks great. Also, I've seen people do some amazing stuff with it. Even bamboo, like there's lots of really cool, like cool sounding and looking tonewoods out there, and it's like I know it, like you said, it's subjective, but for me, I don't know, basic. I just like basic.
Yeah,
I'm not a. Oh, also mahogany. It is also basic. Like all mahogany. My Martin ukulele is all mahogany with the with tortoiseshell binding. It's like one of the best sounding ukes that I have. Even the Taylor that I got from Ritesh like is all mahogany, and it sounds and looks beautiful. So I think third place would be mahogany.
I think like don't rule out or don't feel like, ooh, that ukulele is made out of that wood, I don't want to play it, because you never know what you're gonna find. But also like, there's a reason why violin makers have been making violins out of spruce, right? Like Sitka spruce, and classical guitars and Spanish guitars have been made out of Brazilian rosewood for like centuries. It's like there's a reason why those woods are like highly regarded, so it definitely does have a sound that is like probably pleasing to a majority of people.
The coolest or the most unique to me is I have an ukulele that is custom made from the Philippines that my dad got for me, and the top back and sides is made out of langka, which is jackfruit, like Filipino jackfruit. And that's like one of the best tone woods in the Philippines. Like it's really good. And the neck and headstock is made out of nara, which is they use for like furniture and stuff. It's like Southeast Asia. It grows there. It's really like a really strong wood. So that's like one of the coolest wood combinations that I have: jackfruit and nara wood. Pretty cool.
Yeah. So.
I like them all. But those are my top three: Sitka, rosewood, koa, and mahogany. All koa and all mahogany.
Yeah. It's cool to know, and I would definitely say like go and try out as much different types of instruments that are made out of different woods. But then also like if you're sitting there, and you're sitting in a music shop and they try to sell you like, oh, this instrument is way better because it's made out of koa, is like, well, just trust your ear, trust your ear and trust what you're playing, because even if it's like, oh, this is just a spruce guitar or whatever, like just go for it. Going back to the thing, you can make art with any paintbrush. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter like if you're using a paintbrush at all or if you're using like coconut husks. Like art is art. It's gonna be good. I think it's what if you like the instrument, right, then you're more likely to play it. So the most important thing is like how much your connection with whatever you're gonna get. So cool. So hopefully that answers your question. How about you, Aaron? I didn't ask you. What's your favorite combination, like looks wise or whatever? I don't know. I would probably go with mahogany. I'm primarily like strummer, low G. I don't need like the fancy punch of like spruce. Like spruce, just like the sound just kind of like jumps right off of the soundboard. I don't really need too much of that. So like mahogany is a little bit more mellow, and I don't need to like stand out or anything. I need to blend in. So like that's probably it. But like back and sides, I don't care at all. You play the fluke forever. And that to me that just like goes to show. But it as far as looks, like what combination looks good to you, like that would depend. So if we're talking about like just like looks, what looks good to you, Aaron? So if it's not for you, just like something that you would like to look at,
I don't know.
Looks wise.
I don't know. Like you've been talking about like sunburst finishes. And so like I like that, but that's kind of like an after, afterthought kind of thing. That's not really the wood itself.
It's a finish.
So I don't know.
Like that's also a thing that I think people can kind of get hoity-toity about, right? Like, oh, you bought that for the looks, but that's not a good sounding ukulele. But looks are important too. Like if you like looking at it and like every day you look at it and you're like, I just like how this ukulele looks. You'll probably have fun playing it too. So don't discredit it. I going back to that, like
that Jake album with like that dragon and stuff. Like there's that the hammer that we talked about a few episodes ago, and he's playing the hammer on the cover, and it's like, man, that uke looks so good. And then, but that's like not the uke that he uses on the album, to record and stuff. But it's just like that. I bet that sounds so good. Yeah. And it does. Like, luckily it does. But it's just like, you look at it as a fan, you're like, man, I would love to see how that uke sounds like, because that thing looks amazing, like $1 million. Yeah. That's a spruce Brazilian rosewood combination.
It's like all the you see all the rock albums where they're holding like custom guitars and everything, and then you find out like for their actual album
they didn't use it at all.
They're using like what is it, like $200 Mexican Telecaster, Stratocaster, or whatever. They're like, I love the way that this sounds. I know exactly how to.
On that album, it sounds so good. Have you heard it? Yeah. Or like, it's not even a guitar. It's like the hundreds of like processing stuff, like compressors that they run it through. Like
post processing.
Yeah.
Also, like, looks, well, if you get something a little bit outside of your price range, like that might actually hinder your practice, because you don't want to touch it, or you don't want to blemish it at all. So like, utility is good. Like, talking about the fluke, like, I don't care if I bang it around, it's always
makes you want to play it more.
It can stand up on its own, and it can stand like anywhere in the house. So I, like, it's always like somewhere around the house.
I mean, like for me and Aldrine, right? Like, it's like, we have cards that are like hundreds of dollars, right?
Worth hundreds.
What is how expensive is the cards that you probably play with the most?
Like $15. Yeah, like $15.
Yeah, and the higher it gets, it's just kind of like, ooh, it's nice to touch once a year, twice a year. Yeah,
back in the box.
Because like Kahai gave me some Fontaine Reds, and right now they're going for about anywhere from $500 to $800 like for that deck. And I keep it like in in one of those DS1 sleeve, and that DS1 sleeve goes into a case. Like I take care of that thing. I take it out every now and then. Like, I'll play with it for like 10 minutes. You're like, okay, cool, back in the case you go.
Yeah. So you don't want your ukulele. Or at least the only ukulele that you have, you don't want it to be like that.
Yeah.
So if you can afford like a nice one, also make sure that you can at the same time afford something that like a beater that you can actually use.
I guess,
and have both of them.
Yeah.
I guess it's also the question, right? What are you buying this uke for? Are you buying it to like so it looks nice and you might play it occasionally? Or are you buying it so you can like take it out, leave it out of the case, and play it like every single day? So
well, some advice to those people that buy it and stuff and keep it in the case and stuff. It's good to keep it in the case and play it as often as possible, because you're not going to hear the full potential of that instrument until that instrument opens up, and the only way that's going to happen is if you play your instrument. So if you buy an instrument just to look at it and stuff, that's fine if you don't intend to hear the true potential of that instrument, but really play it just because it'll sound better. And you can always like wipe it down, put it back in a case and stuff, but go play it. Just be careful, I guess. Like, if you're one of those people that buy like the $15,000 one-of-one kamakas or like kamules and stuff, play the dang thing, and then like then put it away, wipe it down, put it away, because I know those are like a down payment for a car or a house. But it's they're meant to be played. They're instruments.
I think, and then you'll hear stories, right? Like, where it's like, oh, we have this Martin that was left in a closet that was never played, so it's like 50 years old or whatever. And it's like, oh, that Martin is pretty expensive and it looks really nice. But you also hear stories of like a grandpa or uncle who's been playing the same ukulele for the past 20 years, 30 years. Yeah. And you listen to that thing and it's like, holy cow, that ukulele like sings. That ukulele like it got its work in, so it's good.
Yeah. There was a Martin in my wife's grandma's house that was just there, and I'm like, oh man, that's like a Martin, and I guess it belonged to her grandpa. And I was like, you guys ever play it and stuff? It's like, well, there's like no strings on it, but you guys ever, you know, like you guys ever play it? And I took it and I, you know, wiped it down and restrung it. I think it sounds amazing, you know. And there was one that I got. I think I've told this story before, that like my wife's mom got, you know, in like a trash bag at the church, and I took it back to Kamaka and they fixed it up and stuff. I think it sounds beautiful. So play it. It's gonna sound better the more you play it. It's gonna age and it's gonna sound better. So yeah. All right, Kai, next question.
Jim in the chat also said that timber as a natural product may vary too. You know,
that's true.
As far as quality or even like
they're living things. So you know what I mean. Not every no two living things are gonna have the same life experiences, and that goes the same exact way for trees. Like you know, the amount of water that it gets, the amount of wind, the amount of air, the elevation, like all that stuff is all gonna matter. Like who, you know, which animal is like rubbing their or like scratching their backs on it, you know, or whatever. Like sometimes that matters.
And then timber too has different grades.
Yes.
You know, within different types.
Sometimes it's like it's correctly like quarter sawn. Sometimes it's just, you know, like, oh, here's some scrap wood. Go make a ukulele out of it. You know.
So that will definitely make a difference. And in addition to the build quality.
Yes.
Like we highly recommend, right? Like if you order ukuleles online, like we know people who will do a great job, like the ukulele site or MIM. But it's hard. It's still hard because like you can, and those guys, they'll like even send you sound samples of the exact ukulele that you're ordering and everything. But yeah, that's just where it's like you don't know exactly what you're gonna get until it's in your hands and you're playing it, right? Yeah. So I think that's still like the best experience of buying an instrument is if you can play it yourself, like have it in your hands. Because too, like you don't know. Different people play instruments differently, and so you can hear it, you know, being played and recorded, and be like, "Oh, that sounds so beautiful. It's so bright and stuff." And once you get it, you can be like, "Oh, it's a really dark ukulele. Like, I don't know what happened, but that's just the way it is." So, yeah.
Oh, I also wanted to mention Blackbird.
Oh yeah, Blackbird.
Not necessarily wood.
Carbon fiber.
No.
Oh, the Ecoa?
Yeah. Because they don't do carbon fiber at all anymore.
Oh, not anymore.
Yeah. So it's strictly Ecoa, which is like a synthetic. It's like linen based, I guess. It's a linen based resin kind of that they created, and it sounds fantastic. And that's all build quality and I guess properties of the synthetic, but
it's not like that actual koa wood, you know.
It's not koa at all. They just called it e-koa. It's based off of, it's like linen fibers that they mesh together in a resin.
It's so like groundbreaking. Like people don't even realize that could be used for other things. They spun out like an entire separate business to help promote it to other industries. But it's pretty cool. They got something there.
That's probably gonna become the norm though, more and more, you know, as
sustainable.
And wood is just like they're chopping down trees, and you know, it's like even the trees that can be pretty easy to get now, like it might not be easy to get in 10 years, 20 years.
Because we could plant trees and stuff, but it's gonna take like hundreds of years for it to like grow and naturally fall, so you can harvest it, you know, like, and we're trying our best, you know, like as humans to offset all the things that, you know, that we've been doing as far as like cutting down trees and turning them into instruments and whatnot, but it's gonna take a long time. Time. Like Brazilian rosewood, like they said no more back in the 70s. They're like no more, you know, like
for hundreds of years.
For hundreds of years. And then they're like, okay, fine. Like this year I don't know, 2500. Like now you can go ahead. Like we have enough. You can grab some. And if like, you know, the world hasn't blown up by like 2500, you know. But,
so even like, you know, people are like, oh, how do you get like you know, if it's so hard to get timber and all these things, how do you get like a piece of wood that's like hundreds of years old or whatever? But usually it's like reclaimed, right? Like they find it like sunk in the bottom of a lake or someplace or someplace that it just hasn't been touched, and it's like, oh, we can actually use this wood, but it's getting less and less where they're actually harvesting the wood itself.
Yeah. So like, I mean, with Kanilea, like I know that most of them prefer like the fallen trees. Like I think they only really use like fallen trees. I don't think they they cut trees down and stuff. And they're trying to offset the all of that by planting new trees. But like we said, that's not going to be available for hundreds of years. But I was wondering like if with say Brazilian roses, since that's the topic. If one gets fallen down, then there could, I guess they could harvest that, right? Not harvest in the traditional sense where you cut it down and stuff.
You
cool could. Beans.
But I mean, but still,
yeah,
they probably can't export it out of the country.
That's true. Yeah,
out of Brazil,
it's still illegal.
I mean, and I'm guessing like if it's a tree and it's like it's starting to topple or something, and it's like one of those species where it's like it's kind of going extinct. Yeah. They might try to like save it before just being like, it's just gonna fall.
There's things that growing out of the tree, that or little seedlings and stuff that could happen. That's true. Yeah. So, okay. So next question, Kahai. That was a good one. Good question.
I don't think we have another question, but Kathy sent in a video for us to do a student review for.
Yes.
So.
Oh, sorry. Let's go to the clip.
And then we just twiddle our thumbs.
So, Kat, sorry. I was like, all right, cool. Yeah. Anyway, so Kathy sent in a student review. Very good job, Kathy. Always great. Is that an original song? Kai?
Yeah.
Okay. Original song, pretty cool. I dig it. So you've grown all these months that we've been working with you, and you've been kind of showing us your original music and how it's kind of evolved and stuff. Some things to watch out for is tempo, something that I've kind of noticed, because I think the first chorus, or the first time, I think it's the chorus, but it speeds up a little bit, and I'm like, okay, is this like intentional? Does the speed up a little? It's a slight speed up, but it is noticeable. It's like, is that intentional? And I waited for like the verse to come back to see if it slows back down. But then the verse came back, and it was still kind of that sped up tempo. So be careful. I don't know if you use a click when you when you record, but that's one way to not fix, but like make that sound better, or at least be better with the with the consistency of the rhythm. I mean, we're humans after all. We're not going to be like completely perfect as far as perfect rhythm goes, or we're not like those crazy alien drummers who can do that. But using a click, like when you record, put on your headphones, have the click on your headphones so that you can follow a metronome. That's what the click is, for those people who don't know what click means, and just kind of play the rhythm ukulele based on the click, and see and try to be as on it with the click as possible, and because it'll show in the final product. Okay, once you have a rhythm section to a click, that should be all good. Just follow the rhythm section, because if the rhythm section's to the click, then everything else should kind of fall in line, so to speak. Other than that, I thought it was good. Like vocals were good, the harmonies were good, the mix sounded pretty good. Like the ukulele was a little bit soft and stuff, but it's really all about the lyrics anyway. It's not like you were doing anything with the ukulele that would be considered front lines. There weren't any like kind of picking or finger picking even. It's mostly rhythm stuff. So mix wise, I thought that was fine. That decision was okay. I don't know, even like the harmonies and stuff, like I think the balance and the harmonies were good. Yeah, it's not bad.
She said that she tried playing with reverb, a tiny bit of reverb on the vocals. Yeah. And then she asked, is there too much panning? I had vocal in the middle, harmony on the left about 50%, and uke on the right over 50%. So
man, I should have used headphones, because I was just listening through from a laptop and stuff. So, but yeah, we'll take a second listen with some headphones, and we'll give you some feedback on that. Sounded okay, from here, sounded all right.
Yeah, and I think that's a hard thing too, is that you make a sound with panning in it, right? Yeah. And then it just ends up like people playing it on their phone
on their iPhone.
Laptop, where it's just mono. So it's like, I think if you're worried about panning, and if you're panning too much, use your headphones and then take one headphone off and then listen to just one side, and you know, like
sounds fine.
Yeah, like it's a personal opinion, right? So like if you're happy with it, like that, you know, it's like, oh, I can hear harmonies in this side, but maybe I can't hear my lead vocals as much. But that's okay to me, you know. And then you listen to the other side and it's like, oh, I hear more lead, but I don't hear as much harmony. But I'm happy with that too. Then I would say that that's a good amount of panning. But if you feel like, well, I can't really hear any of this part and I really want to hear more of it, then consider panning less or panning more to that side, you know. So
yeah. So you know, we had Craig and Sarah last week. So if you folks haven't listened to that, it was a great time, kind of just talking like with the organizers / producers / whatever, and you'll learn all about that of the Ukulele Festival Hawaii. If you listened to last week, you learn about why I'm saying / this / that / whatever. We're trying to get more guests and stuff to be coming in. I know Mike is coming in next week. So for those of you folks who have music theory specific questions, definitely ask us, because Mike will be here to answer any and all of your music theory related questions, music writing, or just music in general. He's a wealth of knowledge, so we like having Mike in. I'll try to get more people in. I talked to Cynthia Lynn. She wants to do one in September. So think of some questions that you guys want to ask Cynthia Lynn. We'll try our best. That's kind of a soft date, you know, but the chick is busy. Kahai. So September is the first, you know, the first opportunity that we can book her, but it might not be till October. We'll see, you know.
Yeah.
Are you excited? That sounds good. This is like a cool little crossover. We did a soft crossover with the lesson and stuff, but now we get to sit down and talk story with the songstress herself. It's gonna be good.
Yep.
So I got an email or a question in from Kristen Sue about the Ukulele Oversoul videos, and they were asking about, man, did you see that question?
Yeah. Can I give one last advice to Kathy too?
Oh yeah, go
I just remembered something. Some people have a hard time recording to a metronome, right? Like just the consistent like clack clack clack. It kind of like freaks them out. I know it does for me too. So look for a drum track instead.
Yeah. Online, you can find it on YouTube. You can just download one if you're looking for some stuff. That's I had that advice for somebody. I don't know. It might have been Kathy, like somebody who was who was kind of playing around and stuff. I'm like, okay, well, you know, I know that click can get annoying sometimes, especially during practice. Like, but if you go on YouTube and you search up, say like, you know, if you know the beats per minute that you'll be practicing to anyway, or that you'll be playing to, you can just look up, you know, some beats to practice to on YouTube. Or if you're looking for stuff to record with, like Kahai said, you can download some, or like some are already kind of built in, right, on some DAWs.
Yeah, and just look around, and you know, I think you'll probably find one that fits you. But you can chop, you can do a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And it'll probably, if it's somebody who's actually recording the drums. It won't be as straight, and it'll probably sound more natural. Your rhythm will sound more natural too in the overall track. So
I remember when it before I had like the fancy schmancy Pro Tools and I was just using like GarageBand and stuff. There was like a wealth of pre-recorded like rhythms and beats and stuff that they had, and even like. They had like Band in a Box, like with some of their, some of their instruments that you just use your keyboard to play the instrument. That sounded really good too, you know. So even if you don't find beats, you could probably make a beat with like, you know, with their instruments that's on there, and you can just move it around so that it's like perfectly timed and stuff. Yeah, there's lots of ways.
Yeah, I would even say like, if you like a song and you like the BPM and like there's just a drum part of it, you know, like just use just that part to record your chorus or whatever, and then like from there, you know, you can record over yourself playing, or you can do whatever, but just using it as like a baseline, so you can get that first recording and get that like you said, right, record your backing ukulele first, just so you know you're steady.
We actually talked about this last night, right, Aaron? We're like you want to record like the rhythm tracks first before you record like all the other stuff. You know, like make a steady rhythm and then put on top.
Yeah. Oh, I also wanted to mention, I liked how she was playing around with going from a major key to a minor key to a major key. Oh, I think the verses were minor and then the chorus was major or something like that. And then it went back to a minor. So she did a pretty good job with that.
That was
too.
fun.
Yeah.
Okay. So, fun question. Did you see it, Kai? Let's answer that. This one's for fun.
So Chris and Sue, they said, we saw that Manny accompanied Aldrine on last week's Oversoul song. So what is the backstory of Manny?
Yeah, for those people who are like watching Ukulele Underground just for like the past, even just 5-6 years, don't know who the heck Manny is. It was a joke that that was okay, but we just didn't go run with it. But we're just like, okay, we'll just keep it as a joke in the background. So this is not kayfabe. Let's break kayfabe and let's talk about Manny for a little bit, because if we're talking about it in kayfabe, then it would be a different story.
We're the contract is we're not even supposed to mention him, right?
Yeah. So let's break kayfabe for a little bit. Manny, who found Manny? Who had Manny first? Did you find Manny first?
No.
Or did I have Manny first?
Yeah.
Huh? Where did Manny come from?
You guys, I think.
Oh, Ace. It was at Ace Hardware. We saw this. We saw this chicken, like this chicken puppet thing. And we're like, okay, I guess I'll buy it. We can use it for something or whatever. And then and I don't know how it started, but there's been many people who have puppeteered Manny in the past, and I've puppeteered Manny in the past. Aaron has puppeteered Manny in the past. Daniel Cummings was supposed to be the official voice of Manny the Rooster, and he had this kind of Filipino accent, and we named him Manny after Manny Pacquiao because famous Filipino boxer, and he was super famous at the time. So Manny the Rooster, because in Kauai, there's Russell the Rooster was the famous rooster puppet for kids the children's
it was Kauai public access
it was Kauai public access rooster puppet called Russell the Rooster, and I saw it and I'm like, oh, we could have our own little mascot Russell, or whatever. He was supposed to be the Ukulele Underground mascot, and he was for a little bit, because there's all these fan arts that people were doing and stuff. This was way long ago when Ukulele Underground first started. And he, we featured him in some videos. He had his own YouTube channel at one point, and I think is that YouTube channel still up?
I'm not sure.
Or did he take it down by YouTube? Yeah, there's videos of him singing, on YouTube. And it's all, we tried to to make it a thing, but it's it's a joke. We weren't serious about making him into a serious mascot or whatever. Just we'll just toss Manny in there, but now whenever we travel, Aaron actually brings Manny along, and we'll have him in there. We'll have him in some pictures. He has an Instagram if you guys want to follow his Instagram. I think it's Manny the Rooster.
He has his own ukulele and ukulele case.
Yeah, his own ukulele case right over there. It's there. Yeah. Has his ukulele case. Yeah, so Manny. Then there's 2 Mannys. There's 3 Mannys actually, right? So I
that is breaking the fourth wall.
I bought the first Manny, and Aaron bought his own Manny, and Deech and Russ have their own Manny as well, because they found it in the mainland. Yeah. So I don't know who makes these rooster puppets and stuff, but it's not a custom made puppet or anything. It's you can find them.
Deech and Russ have each made videos together.
Yeah, with
featuring
their own Manny.
Yeah.
We should.
Yeah, that's why I'm right off the bat, we gotta break kayfabe before we talk about Manny, because that's how this question is gonna get answered. But it's been fun. We just like to have fun with it, and with anything that we do, it's just for the lulz. It's just because we think it's funny. So sometimes on tour we'll bring Manny, and Manny will be on stage with us, and people will ask us after the show what's with the chicken? We're like, what chicken? Oh, you mean Manny? He did some harmonies and stuff, Yeah, it's been fun. He went to Europe with us. That was pretty cool. You know, he went to the mainland a bunch of times with us. People have taken pictures with Manny. You know, like people have been like, oh, let's like, is that Manny the Rooster? Let me like take a picture of him and stuff. Like there's tons of like cool Manny stuff out, especially from like the early stages of Ukulele Underground. There's lots of Manny stuff. But now we just kind of keep them in the back. There's kind of an homage, like just having them back there and stuff. Okay, and now, unless you guys want to say anything else, I'm gonna go back to kayfabe.
yeah, it's been like end that.
And kayfabe.
We had like 200 episodes, right? 200 podcast episodes of like the Thursday live lesson, and this is 25 of the Ukulele Underground podcast. So it's around like you might hear about him again in 225 episodes. Right?
Yeah, but that's So I featured him on last week's video for my Ukulele Oversoul YouTube channel, and I was thinking of an OK Go song to do, and I was like, okay, A Million Ways, that sounds pretty good, and maybe I'll dance or something for the Million Ways video because they did a dance for their music video. But then I was looking, at like, because I'm like, okay, how do I make the camera? How do I shoot the shot so that they can see me dancing or whatever? And then while I was looking at the shot, I'm like, Manny's in the background. I want to do this OK Go song instead, where like it talks about ghosts and stuff, and there's like a part where like it goes, oh no. So I'm like, yes, Manny the Rooster, I'm doing that song instead. Guarantee it's gonna be so much fun. And I did, and I'm like, I want to get two Mannys because the that all no part is like harmonized. So I tried to do that thing where like there's like two Mannys on the same screen, but I don't know, like I'm not that great with color correcting and feathering. Now I know what feathering means, thanks to Kahai. Like I should have like, hey guys, what's that thing that you do? But instead I'm like, that's fine. where there's like the two Maddies like singing harmony in the background and stuff. So I saw the puppet. I'm like, that's cool. I'm gonna have to use that. And now I'm gonna try to make him a recurring character in my Ukulele Oversoul videos because the world needs to see Manny.
Yeah, someone found his channel and posted it in the chat. Yeah, the Omni Beast. Yeah, so yeah, that's right. He was featured a lot in your Uke Got Mail series.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, Uke Got Mail.
So if you go on YouTube and search for Uke Got Mail episodes with Aldrine, like that was a whole like show that we used to do. Aldrine was,
that I did.
Yeah.
So actually, I was thinking of bringing that back as a once a month thing, like because I've been doing these weekly videos, and I'm like, okay, well, if I can do these videos, I think I can do Uke Got Mail. So once I'm done with the Ukulele Oversoul, like music stuff, like weekly music uploads, I'm gonna do a monthly Uke Got Mail upload stuff. So that's for 2022. That's gonna be my next project because it's been fun. I've been having some fun, and like it gives me perspective on like what Aaron and Kahai does like video wise. So it's actually cool and good for me to just appreciate like the things that these guys do because it's not easy work. Like it's not, and I've been so spoiled like throughout these years of like, oh yeah, cool, I'll just film it. You guys got it right, just and it'll look amazing. By the time I watch it, like the final product, I'm like, oh yeah, that looks good. It's exactly what I expected. And not knowing like the hours of work that it takes for them to even get like just maybe one part down or whatever, like, or one, there's gonna be some cool effects on the on next month's video that Aaron has put some time in, and you'll understand what I mean when you watch that. Without giving too much away, how long did that take you, this new thing that we did for next month's lesson?
Oh, I don't know.
Some time.
Just kept working on it. It's still not done, so I have 1 day left or something.
Well, like I feel like when I'm working on editing a video and it's like an hour and I like zoom out of the track, I'm like, whew, I got 1 minute of the video done in an hour. Yeah. That is actually pretty fast. Yeah. Like it's like, oh, that I'm grinding today. I'm doing good. Nice.
But it's just to to kind of get a better understanding and an appreciation to what these guys do. So it's I want to do more stuff. So next year, 2022, let's bring back Uke Got Mail. Why not? Monthly show. If it's once a month, if I can like record edits and make a video and edits, you know, like a song a week, I think I could answer a few questions like every month. I think I can do that. But in the meantime, we are due, Kahai, to do another one of those Q&As. We did a Q&A and that was fun, you know, the first time that we did that. So let's schedule something for a Q&A and should be fun.
Okay.
Let's do one. I mean, no timeline at all, so that Kahai, you know, can do his regular projects and get those done. Because like I just said, it takes them hours, days, weeks to do some of these videos that you guys watch, and it's like 5 minutes long or whatever, you know. But I want to do another one. I want to just answer questions and stuff. That's aside from this, because that the Uke Got Mail series, for those of you folks haven't seen that allowed me to get silly as well. It was pretty cool. You know, I did some silly questions in that, and I kind of want to do that again and get in touch with the audience.
It's a very young Aldrine in a very messy room.
Yeah, you know, my room is still messy, but like now it's, you know, it's my room now. It's not like my room at my parents' house. Now it's my messy room in my house. That's the only difference.
That series too was good because you could answer some specific questions. Yeah. But they were like questions that once people heard, or like, you know, once somebody asked it, then they like other people would usually realize like, oh, I had that same question too. I just didn't know it, or like that's what I wanted to know.
And that was the premise of the Q&A stuff that we did. I think we only did one of those, or one or two of those, right, Kai?
Yeah, we did a couple.
Yeah. So I want to do that again. That was fun.
But we're gonna have to create like a new intro for that. It was formatted for like the original YouTube in that like
the Uke Got Mail? Oh yeah, that's right, the intro.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then it was like, I don't know. I mean, even Uke Got Mail, that reference is like a very dated reference. So it was funny at the time because it was sort of nostalgic at the time already, and now it's like totally out of touch.
What does that even mean? I don't get it. But yeah, so you know, I want to add some new shows to our Ukulele Underground YouTube channel, and that's gonna be one of them. And I want to edit that. That's gonna be fun. I dig it now, guys. I think I'm ready for like actual videos. I've done, I mean, simple videos like Uke Got Mail. I don't think I'm ready for editing one of these like lesson videos, but I think I can do like a fun one.
Yeah. I mean, in fact, all of our shows when we started were formatted for like
old YouTube.
But yeah, or just like, you know, YouTube couldn't handle anything more than 10 minutes, so we
that's why Uke Minutes.
We did everything under 5. I think we did most of our stuff under 5.
We didn't have the lessons on video. Yeah, we had lessons just embedded on our site.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think when we started live streaming to YouTube, that's when I like clicked the button to be like, do you want to upload videos longer than 10 minutes?
Yeah.
So like up to that point, it wasn't like
YouTube couldn't even like accept anything more than like 100 megs before. Yeah, that was like, because I remember I have an old Legend of Zelda video on there, and it was like 105 because it was like 5 minutes long or whatever. I had to. So it was here we are getting all nostalgic about old school YouTube.
Terrible connectivity and like.
I was just thinking about like Blog TV and Justin TV and Ustream back then. Man, now it's like Twitch and stuff, and all the kids are on it. But I guess we were the kids that were on Blog TV. Speaking of Blog TV. Never mind, I'll talk to you about it later. But yeah, that pretty much does it for this episode of the Ukulele Underground podcast. Hope you guys had fun. Next week, Magic Mike comes back. So once again, ask all your questions that are directed to Magic Mike on the Ukulele Underground Plus forum, or however you guys want to give it to us. We have mail as well. What is our email, Kahai? Questions? Questions at
ukuleleunderground.com.
Ukuleleunderground.questions. Don't forget the S. Questions at ukuleleunderground.com. If you have questions for Magic Mike or questions for us, doesn't really matter. Just questions in general. Just send them in, and we'll try to answer them next week. If not, I guess we'll be talking about clarinet for an hour. Okay?
So some people have sent in their songwriting challenges. Because I think they're worried to get it, or they wanted to get it in before a deadline.
Okay.
So should we set a deadline?
Let's do it for next week. We'll show our songs, Mike likes to listen to our songs anyway, so Mike we'll do the songs and Mike next week. So we're not gonna use Mike coming here as an excuse to extend it for one more week. We'll do it next week. Everyone will be due next week. Ours will be due next week. The audience will be due next week, and we'll give a prize. Okay.
Sounds good.
Yeah, lesson. People want that third lesson. Okay. All right. So if nothing else, we'll see you folks next time. We'll see you tomorrow for our little Friday Live Jam and UU Plus live coaching. Have a great one. Enjoy your day. Aloha.